The Trailblazers continue to inform everyone in the league that they have no intention of trading Lillard and are undergoing a full-scale rebuild. However, without a clear path to title contention, there's a huge chance that Lillard would consider following in the footsteps of other superstars and finding his way out of Portland before the 2022 NBA trade deadline. The Lakers have been interested in signing Lillard for a number of years now and have tried recruiting him several times in the past. When they couldn't get Lillard last summer, the Lakers settled with experiment Russell Westbrook, which has failed woefully. But could a Westbrook trade for Lillard together with Talen Horton-Tucker be enough to prize Dame away from Portland this time? Swapping Lillard for Westbrook would make a lot of sense for the Trailblazers, if they plan to remain competitive, especially if Damian decides to leave. Lillard is the more efficient player of the two, and Westbrook is nowhere as consistent as Lillard on the offensive end of the floor, but Russ remains one of the top 10 point guards in the league despite his miserable career in Los Angeles so far. With Lillard clearly the better point guard between the two players, the Trailblazers will want more compensation. Apart from Westbrook, Neil O'Shea could demand the inclusion of Talen Horton-Tucker and future draft picks in their offer. Another way this trade could happen is through a multi-team blockbuster trade. After all, it was a multi-team trade that brought Westbrook to the Lakers, so who's to say that it wouldn't happen again? Besides, a trade for Lillard would be really difficult for the Lakers to pull off alone. So we've put together a trade scenario that could work for both the Lakers and the Blazers, as well as all the other teams involved in this trade. This trade scenario involves three teams: the New Orleans Pelicans, the Portland Trailblazers, and of course the Los Angeles Lakers. Lillard will move to the Lakers, Russ to the Pelicans, and Brandon Ingram to the Blazers. In return, the New Orleans Pelicans will also receive Talen Horton-Tucker, Nasir Little, and 2027 first-round picks from the Lakers along with Westbrook. The Blazers, on the other hand, will receive Brandon Ingram, Thomas Satoransky, Devontae Graham, and a 2023 first-round pick from the Pelicans. So there you have it. It's going to be a very difficult one to pull off, but it's not impossible. The Lakers have had a horrible season so far, and they are currently off the top 5 places in the Western Conference. At first, everyone, including myself, was arguing how it's still too early to judge the Lakers just yet since the season isn't halfway through. But the more you take a closer look at this team, the more you realize that unless Frank Vogel can pull off a miracle or something, this Lakers team doesn't look like they're going to challenge for anything this season. The defense is so bad that any team right now in the league would fancy winning against them if they played just well enough. Anthony Davis has looked a shadow of his brilliant best.
Listen, Anthony Davis, you got to play better. I said on this first night, if the Lakers were going to be any good, it was all going to be on you. Has nothing to do with Russell, had nothing to do with LeBron and the rest of them old-ass geezers they put together out there. But now y'all done crossed the line because I really like Frank Vogel. And listen, it ain't his fault. But listen, in my opinion, I blame Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, you know I like you as a person, but you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You're 27 years old. You're supposed to be in your prime. You're supposed to be one of the 5 best players in the world, up there with Giannis, Kevin Durant, and those guys. And you ain't holding up your end of the bargain.
And those turnovers the whole team, not just Westbrook, are committing in every game has become something of a norm. The players they have in the team sometimes look disjointed from each other, which is probably due to their troubles of developing chemistry. With that being said, I just don't see the Lakers challenging for the title with this team. If the Lakers are serious about Damian Lillard, their best bet is to give up Russ for the 31-year-old. Westbrook is their most valuable player after Anthony Davis and LeBron James. But really, it's the only logical thing to do. The Lakers are not going to trade LeBron or AD away, so Westbrook is the obvious choice here. The New Orleans Pelicans would also want young talent and picks in this scenario, so Talen Horton-Tucker and a pick getting added to the deal should do the magic trick. Damian to the Lakers would provide LA with a superstar that would fit perfectly alongside Davis and LeBron James. His incredible shooting from beyond the arc would provide the Lakers with an immense amount of spacing for AD and LeBron to wreak havoc. The Lakers have lacked a capable shot creator and a 3-level scorer for some years now, and by trading for Damian, the purple and gold will have one of the best in the business. A big three featuring Damian, LeBron, and Anthony will be insane. And because the three of them are so compatible together on the court, I just can't see how the Lakers wouldn't win a chip with that front three. Damian himself is aware of just how well he would fit on the same team with LeBron and AD. He even admitted to this during a meeting with LeBron to discuss a move to the Lakers last summer after Portland's exit in the first round of the playoffs. James is known to be an admirer of Lillard's talent and has tried to convince the Trailblazer to join him several times in LA. When Lillard was asked what they discussed, Lillard was surprisingly open about it. Bron asked what I was thinking with my situation, and I told him what I'm telling you, that I just want to be in a position to win it all. He painted the picture to me that if I were to leave, the situation could look like this. He didn't tell me to come to LA, and he didn't say anything to me that I didn't already know other than what it could look like. I told him, I know if I were to play with y'all, I know it would work out because of my skill set and who I am and who they are. After the discussions with Lillard didn't lead to anything fruitful, that's when the Lakers went ahead with option B or C and traded for Westbrook. The Pelicans, on the other hand, have had some good pieces in the last few years, but they've been unable to become more than just a playoff team. But acquiring Russell Westbrook could change all that. However, let's be clear about something. The only way the Pelicans will agree to trade with Westbrook is if he agrees to sign a 2-year extension with the franchise. If Russ can agree to that, all is well and good. Russ has a decent record of taking whatever team he plays for into the playoffs every year. The point guard has been to the playoffs every single year since 2015, and while his style of play hasn't worked out for the Lakers, there's no doubt that his aggressiveness, drive, and passion will elevate this Pelicans team. His leadership would also be extremely valuable for a young Pelicans team, something Brandon Ingram seriously lacks. I have no doubt about Brandon's ability, but in teams of leadership, he's just not the person the Pelicans need to drive the franchise deep into the playoffs. Zion Williamson is currently on his way back from injury, but when he gets back, the pick and roll game between him and Westbrook will be a sight to see. I'm looking forward to that actually. I think it'll be spectacular. The Lakers will find it difficult to give up a talent like Talen Horton-Tucker, but it's a sacrifice they will have to make if they want to win another chip this season or the next. Besides, the 21-year-old who looks like a 31-year-old simply hasn't had the opportunity to develop himself while playing next to the stars on the offensive end. Horton-Tucker is a capable slasher with some playmaking ability that will come in handy for the Pelicans. Besides, going to New Orleans should really help him develop faster if he's able to cement a place in the lineup. The Pelicans will also get a solid winger in Nasir Little, who has shown that he can finish well on the interior and rebound the ball when he needs to. If the Pelicans allow these young players to develop, they could grow to become solid players. Overall, I think giving up Brandon Ingram as well as draft compensation and the contracts of Devontae Graham and Thomas Satoransky to get a former MVP and some bright young pieces could be beneficial for their chances to being competitive next season. Let's be honest, the Portland Trailblazers core has run its course. The team needs a reboot, reset, or whatever. Making this trade will get them an all-star in return.
They've been doing hasn't worked.
I can't live
Dame's getting older, CJ's getting older. It's time to either get rid of one of them, get rid of both of them, send them somewhere else.
Nah,
or December 15th, get rid of some of the young guys and bring in like a veteran name that's out there to try to get some spark back. But what they've been doing has not worked.
Ingram is nowhere as efficient as Lillard, but he's 7 years younger than Dame with lots of room to improve. He was the most improved player in the league 2 seasons ago and is currently one of the best forwards in the game. He's currently averaging 22.9 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 4.7 assists per game. Those are fine stats that can still very well improve over the years with the right support around him. Ingram is capable of creating his own shot, and at the same time, he's also capable of creating shots for his teammates. His versatile offensive game makes him a great potential franchise centerpiece for the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers would also get Devontae Graham and Thomas Satoransky, 2 veterans that can easily be flipped in a further trade for other players or picks. I've always been a fan of Devontae Graham, and I think he's a particularly solid shooter who could be of interest to contenders. The Pelicans would also add in extra draft compensation for the Trailblazers to get the deal done and help their rebuild. In the trade, the Blazers would send Lillard to the Lakers while getting a talented young player and some other pieces to help with their rebuilding process. A few weeks ago, there were some reports that the Blazers had hired an outside firm to investigate the workplace misconduct allegations against their general manager. I'm not sure if many of you still remember, but there was some major drama during the summer when Portland decided to hire Chauncey Billups over other qualified candidates. That arose from sexual allegations being levied against the coach's direction back when Billups was still playing. During his rookie season, to be precise. The whole drama, coupled with Portland's horrible start to the season, has got everyone asking how long Damian intends to stay in a team that continues to hit the same stumbling block every season. This might hurt Portland fans, but we need to see Damian reach the NBA Finals more consistently. He's too brilliant and good of a player to continue to get knocked out of the first or second round of the playoff series. I just think it would be a shame for a player of his talent to waste it there at Portland where he won't get a chance to win anything. Another thing is, Damian may have watched Giannis win a chip with the Bucks last season and thought he could do that too. After all, he said it over and over again that it would be an incredible feeling to win a chip at Portland. Look, Damian, I hate to break it to you, but the Portland team don't look like title contenders this year, or even next year. Lillard has been loyal for 10 years, and no one will blame him if he decides to be selfish for a couple seasons.